Evening and welcome to another session of the Right Circle organized by Prabha Khaitan. Prabha Khaitan Foundation is an NGO based out of Kolkata which strives to address the cause of women through curated events for like-minded people and literary enthusiasts in over 35 cities in India and overseas. When the pandemic had put the world to a halt, the foundation turned to virtual sessions for patrons to be not deprived of music, literature, dance, and culture. The Right Circle is one such initiative by the foundation to let patrons rendezvous with English literateurs from across the globe. Patrons now can tune into the sessions from the sanctity of their homes. The guest for the evening is none other than the media veteran Ananth Narayan Mahadevan. He has been in the industry for 40 years and has been credited with doing exceptional work in theatre, journalism, film, television, and advertisement. He has won the National Award for Best Screenplay and Dialogues for the Marathi biopic Me Sindhutai Sapkal, and has been acclaimed for award-winning films like Gaur Hari Dastan, The Freedom File, Red Alert, The War Within, and Rough Book. Dr. Rakma Bai has been critically acclaimed overseas and has been awarded in film festivals at New York, Washington, Melbourne, and others. Maighat crime number 103/2005 has been officially selected at Kerala, Kolkata, Bangalore, Singapore, New York, Cincinnati, Indo-German Film Week, Berlin. Bittersweet, the latest film in Marathi, is an official selection this year at the prestigious Busan International Film Festival. He has acted in over 100 feature films in Hindi, English, Marathi, Malayalam, Tamil, Kannada, Telugu, and has given applause-worthy performances in Gardish, Khiladi, Bazigar, Badshah, Papanasam, Vishwapurnam 2, Evening Shadows, and many more. He has directed 1,000 episodes on primetime television and acted in over 75 television serials and web series, including The Sword of Tipu Sultan, Ghar Jamai, Nupur, and others. He's also performed on stage and acted in over 35 plays with more than 3,000 spectacular shows all over the world. He's also the author of the best-selling book on Indian television called Once Upon a Prime Time. He has directed commercials for brands like Godrej, Yellow Pages, Imami, and Mediclaim, and modeled for brands like Suzuki, Inverter, Complan, Kitply, Brook Bond Tea, We Guard, and more. In conversation with him today is a Ehsas woman of Delhi, Nilima Dalmia. I would now request Nilima ji to start the conversation. And to our lovely audience here, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Good evening. Ananth, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good evening to all of you and to our viewers and listeners.
I found awesome. I have a diary which has this inscription on the page. And I have to say that I didn't know that I was going to find awesome in the Right Circle session that I'm going to have with you. So I really look forward to this conversation, and let me go right in. The screenwriter, actor, director of Hindi and Marathi films, you have been an integral part of the television and Hindi cinema since the 1980s. To say that I'm overwhelmed by the extraordinarily multifaceted person that you are, I will be grossly underplaying my emotions and my admiration. So Ananth, let's start with your book, aptly named Once Upon a Prime Time. I finished reading it at breakneck speed yesterday. I had only got hold of it about 4 or 5 days back, and I'm usually a very slow reader, but I have to say that I just could not put your book down. The compulsion, of course, was that I cannot possibly do this great battamizi by not finishing your book before I speak with you. But I must say that your book was so compelling, and each one of you here, I urge you to read the book, because you'll really be reading a nugget, a documentary nugget of of the history of television. This chronicle, Ananth, is essentially the evolution of Indian TV and entertainment from, as you say in your own words, a fly-infested studio of Doordarshan in the early 80s to the all-pervading, mind-boggling present-day medium that has consumed our lives like an omnipotent extraterrestrial force. In your book, on page 195, you have quoted Marilyn Manson, and you say, times have not changed. They have just become more televised. Would you like to tell us a little bit about this?
Well, to begin with, thank you so much for this very kind introduction. I don't know whether I deserve all these words and words of praise. It's been absolutely overwhelming. So I think I don't know whether to accept all of them. If I'm going to be honest to myself, I think I have miles to go and lots of work to do, and set more sort of milestones and standards for myself. But yes, coming back to the book and the statement that times haven't changed, they've only got more televised. Well, when I thought of writing a book, and someone actually, whispered into my ear, "Did you ever realize that 40 years of television have gone past us, and you probably were the only one who was present throughout those 40 years. There were so many lovely names, wonderful names we've had along the way, but many of them have either dropped out or they have stopped working, or they are sadly not with us anymore. And the sad part, of course, again, is that we do not have any documentation of the 40 years. Who are the people who brought television into our homes, who introduced commercial sponsored television, and what kind of work they did, which set me thinking, because I hadn't made notes all these years of what I had done or what anybody had done, but somehow my mind had become a huge storehouse of memories, and it was, they were gushing out as I was trying to put them down on paper, and the flow of the mind was faster than the flow of the pen. So I had to go back and revisit, the manuscripts each time, because there were so many fill in the blanks that I had to do and fill them up. And each time I wrote about this, I felt, a sense of pride, because it is very rare that you run parallel to an entire industry and you still live to tell the tale. So that was what kept me going, and took me almost 2.5 years to put these thoughts, incidents, memories, people, personalities together. Yes, so when we say that times haven't changed and they've only become more televised, what I meant was this entire journey of 40 years has been split. Television is all about episodes, and the book itself, I wanted to make it book 1, book 2, book 3, but instead of calling it 1, 2, 3, I called it episode 1, the beginning, episode 2, the middle, and episode 3, beginning all over again. I wanted to call it the end with a question mark, but then I thought that would be too sort of, too critical and too damning of things. So the episode 3 is called, a restart, a beginning, a resurrection all over again. But episode 3 is where you see the downslide happening over the last, when the new millennium started, and we suddenly ran into these so-called daily soaps, which started flooding our television slots. And every time you wanted to, revisit the classics or the short stories or the detective stories, all you got was these very regressive daily soaps. And then that's where the downfall started. But that was also consumer driven. And it was driven by a lot of brands who thought that this is what and where and who would buy their products. So over the last 20 years is what I see the semi-demise of what we started in '83 with filmmakers who sort of crossed over from filmmaking to television, a terrain that they weren't very familiar with, but they gave it all they've got, and we got some very innovative products from them. So the founding forefathers of television are today not, not really remembered. I mean, every new executive programming person or channel that opens up, they believe that they are the people who are going to decide what the program is going to be all about, and what the public at large wants, whether it's news, fiction, non-fiction, documentary, whatever. And that's where I think it's been a strategic mistake. So we realized that what we did in the first 20 years, 83 to about 2003, are now considered classics, while the downfall had started. So that's why I put that quote in there, that everything has become more televised, whether it is some kind of actor who is at the airport. You have the paparazzi waiting there, trying to interview him. Anything that moves in the film industry, the show business, in politics, sports, and the like, is now suddenly, becoming part of primetime television. It wasn't the case during the 80s and the 90s. We had Doordarshan, good old Doordarshan, who gave us the news in a very calm, quiet, studied manner, and the reporting could be trusted. Today, there are debates. Today, uh, it's just garrulousness all over the place, and everyone is shouting at the top of their voice. And they not only do that, but they shout over each other. And this is probably, an audio test for all of us, as to if you could really read every lip and hear every word that all of them are saying while they're talking together. That means you have a tremendous sense of focus and concentration. So probably that could be an exercise, a mental exercise, rather than dismissing it as, a fracas and a farce that's happening on television. So that's where we are, from the classics to the short stories to the musicals to everything that we cherished in the first 20 years, to, a cauldron of what I would call, we have amassed something that is what we call popular television, the television rating points deciding what kind of television we are supposed to watch. So there we are, and before we reach a dead end, and before we like find ourselves like, well, like you just said that you don't watch television. Similarly, a lot of our friends, a lot of people whom I know and do not know, have stopped watching television, which is a sad thing, because there was a time when everyone used to be hooked onto television, and even if the rice and the lentils were burning, and they were like, getting overheated on your gas stove, you were still hooked onto television. So that's how far we have come away from television.
Yes, yes. Ananth, I remember the Mahabharata days when the whole of India was on paralysis. Nobody moved away from that little box which had that wavering antenna. And it was like a trial of wits if that antenna moved, and the whole family was on tenterhooks, because watching Mahabharata had become the binding factor of the social fabric. And yes, indeed, we have come a long way from there. But considering that, Ananth, you have literally been a fly on the wall who has closely witnessed the shenanigans of Mandi House. Talk to us a little bit about the thrilling journey, this celluloid of altered reality, the celluloid world of altered reality. Talk to us how it has affected you, and how you have traversed from the 80s to what it is today.
Well, as far as affecting me is concerned, yes. I mean, it made my career. It made me worthy of writing a book and talking to you like this, and talking to all our the audience out there. So I could say it was life changing in many ways, but it was also a learning process, and a very I would say, a very drastic learning process, because when I started out as absolute novice, I was doing theater, and Sai Paranjpe was kind enough to cast me in the first week of the sponsored television shows. We are called Ados Pados on Thursday. That was on Thursday. And I started off with a director as, who was one of my favorites and as popular as her, because she'd just done Chashme Badur, Sparsh, and Katha. So I was very, very fortunate to have started off with her, and then went on to working with some of the directors whom I had really like sort of, tutored myself on, like Gulzar, Rishikesh Mukherjee, Bashu Chatterjee, Kundan Shah, and the like, because MS Satyu, of course. Then later on, the popular genre like Yash Chopra and Ramesh Sippy. So one got to work with a lot of film directors on television, which is not the case today. Today, executive producers decide what content should go on television, and we do not even know the name of the directors. I mean, today, if I ask someone what is their favorite show, they might tell me the name of the show. But if I ask them who is the director, who is the maker of the show, they just, come up with a blank. So that is the tragedy that has struck television. You know that Kundan Shah, made Ye Jo Hai Zindagi, and Manjul Sinha made Ye Jo Hai Zindagi. You know Sai Paranjpe made Ados Padosa, Bashu Chatterjee made Rajni, Rishikesh Mukherjee made Hum Hindustani, or B.R. Chopra made Mahabharata, and Ramesh Sippy made Bunyad. You know all that, but you do not know the names of the people who are doing television today. So what exactly transpired? What is it that has changed so drastically that it has put the maker out of business, at least not on the scene of people knowing about him or her? So you see, the entire changeover that has come, the paradigm shift that has come, it has shifted from, I would say, wisdom, knowledge, awareness, a certain amount of intellectual authority to, I would say, shooting in the dark. I mean, hoping to God that, your arrow would find its mark, and you would get your TRPs, and you would retain your chair, you would retain your, creative director tag in each of the channels that you are working. So today it's all about retaining your job. Those days it was all about retaining your reputation. So that is the paradigm shift and change that I have witnessed as I sort of, walked along, ran along, grew up with television. And today I think, the maturity that I gathered in the first 20 years is seriously lacking today. Very strangely, when with all the technology and so many things available to you, so many channels available to you, one should have, taken great strides in creating or, breaking new ways on television. But strangely, when we had a singular channel like Doordarshan, we seem to have done better work than when we have 100 channels. So that speaks a lot, and I don't think it speaks very well.
So what I understand is that you feel that in the last 40 years, we have become a society which is completely soulless. We have lost our roots, and we are no longer people. We are robotic. We expect, we are spoiled for choice, and yet we are not particular about quality. Is that, would I be correct in assuming that?
Well, let me put it like this. I think over the past 2 decades, I mean, I think immediately after the new millennium, there has been a sea change in attitudes, and a sea change in the levels of tolerance. I mean, whether it is a marriage or whether it is a show that you got to put up with. Marriages are breaking faster than, I mean, you have more divorces than marriages actually over the past 20. So what is it that we have lost along the way?
Indeed. Ananth, I am compelled to read this quote of yours on page 241. which is actually a telling commentary on how you or how a person would have survived this media. And here you say, America's radio, Broadway, and film star Billy Burke once said of Hollywood, and I think we can say that it applies to the
Absolutely.
entire entertainment space world
Yes,
over.
yes.
So I quote, and I quote that your quote is, to survive there, you need the ambition of a Latin American revolutionary, the ego of a grand opera tenor, and the physical stamina of a cow pony. It's a fascinating quote that you've written there.
Yeah.
And it's a telling commentary on the fact that you have survived that environment to become who you are today. So quickly tell us briefly a couple of lines on that, and then I want to move out of your narrative and into your own persona.
Well, I would say that the pressures to perform were more healthy in when we started off in the 80s and the 90s. Today, the pressure to perform is rather very, very unhealthy because people are walking over each other, and there are no scruples, and there are no ethics compared to what we had once upon a time. So that is what, if you're talking about that particular quote, we worked at a certain leisurely pace. We worked with a lot of thought into that we put into our work, and we enjoyed the process and the journey. Today it's more about trying to find work. Today you actually have upstarts coming up to you and telling you, we are sending you something on your WhatsApp. That's the script, or that's the side of one of our episodes. Would you please sort of do a self-test, or would you come across for an audition, and then we will see whether you are good enough to be cast in that part or not. And I would tell myself, Sai Paranshvi never auditioned me, Kamal Hassan never auditioned me. For God's sake, MS Satyu, BR Chopra, Ramesh Sippy, Kundan Shah, Bashu Chatterjee, Rishikesh Mukherjee. I'm taking the name of all the lords of television and cinema. They did not audition you. They just met you, spoke to you, and cast you. So my biggest grouse today is that if you are worth your salt as a director, I think first make yourself aware of who the people are around, what is the kind of people you want to work with, what is the talent that is available, and do not belittle people by doing this. I can understand look tests. I mean, when I was cast as Purnaya for the Sword of Tipu Sultan, I was cast. But then when I went for a look test, was the garb of Purnaya. So that was not an audition, that was a look test. Today, it's a totally different scenario. They do not know who the great veterans, who the founding fathers of television were. I mean, I tell these little upstarts, I tell them, the seats, the chairs on which you're sitting, I mean, the ground on which you're walking has been built by those founding fathers of television. Please, be decent enough to know their names and know about the kind of work that they did. And the reply you get is, no, no, no. See, this is our audience today. This is what the youth wants today. And we know our audience. Don't try and tell us what marketing television is all about. And then the pandemic strikes, the COVID virus strikes, and Doordarshan revives all those classics like Mahabharata and Ramayana without the great techno CG effects of today. And you find the youth hooked on to all the old television serials. So what happened to your reading of the youth of today? How come they're hooked on to all the old television serials and not hooked on to what you are dishing out today? So isn't that a very strategic? I mean, you're going totally wrong reading what the audience today is all about. That's how wrong we are today. So you see, this is what we need to do. We need to overhaul our thinking. We need to overhaul the kind of people who are making television. We need to overhaul the kind of people who are deciding, the content programmers who are deciding what the audience wants. So what it really needs is a total overhaul. And that is where we are today.
Yeah, indeed. That's a very sad commentary on the state of affairs today, Ananth. But I am a student of psychology, and I've been very intrigued by you as a person. Of course, you as a writer and director and actor and story script writer, all of that is very, very evident in your narrative. I want to ask you another question. I'm moving out of your narrative now. Uh, are you, do you feel the need to wear cloaks and different masks when you are traversing from real life to real life? Because I do believe that actors are very conscious of their images, both on and off screen. So do you often feel the pressure of wearing a cloak or a mask? And who is the real Ananth Mahadevan?
Well, what you see now is what you get. That's the real Ananth Mahadevan. I have often been told that I do not, present myself stylishly. I do not be flashy, and that is where all the starry stuff lies. You know, I've been actually told, look at that guy who just walked in through the door. Look at him. Look at what he's wearing. Look at his gait. Look at the way he is talking. Now that is what you need to become a star. And if you go on like this, and if you do not even bother about what you're wearing, if you just be like, so down to earth as you are, you'll never make it. And I said, I'm not here to put on a cloak, to put on a mask and pretend to be somebody else. That I will do when I am in front of the camera. That is why I am here, to be an actor, to put on another garb, to put on another mask and pretend to be someone else and perform like somebody else. If I'm going to do that in real life, then what am I going to do in front of the camera? So please don't ask me to put on anything. I am, and I don't see the need to do anything like that, because this is what I am. This is the way I am. And please let me be the way I am, because I don't care whether this is going to take me somewhere or not take me somewhere. The person I have to be honest to is myself. And if I am going to cheat myself and my conscience, then I'm not being an honest actor. And I think the biggest trait an actor should have is honesty, because it shows on screen, and the camera catches every bit of it. So let me just be. Let me see if I can live life on my terms. Let me see if I can get the kind of success that I deserve, and I'm looking for on my terms. I'm not looking to conquer the world over here, but I'm trying to do something which is very mentally satisfying. And so here I am, working on my terms, living on my terms, and not pandering to popular tastes. And well, that is it. I may have lost out on a lot which I don't even realize along the way, but I don't regret it.
What a delight this is, Ananth, because you are certainly a rarity among men. I was almost feeling that this is a spiritual lesson that we seek to be ourselves. And it takes a great deal of courage. If I can quote and I can steal this title, it takes a great deal of courage to be disliked. Of course, you are far from that. You are greatly liked and admired.
No. You're true. Yeah. What you said is true. You're not always liked. You're not part of the fraternity, as they once told me, and you're not part of the circle. So you will never be part of the circle. And I tell them, look, I'm not trying to be a rebel or trying to be different for the sake of being different. Why can't we just be what we are? What is it that we are trying to achieve by doing all this? The minute you get your first check, you have a very flashy car on very heavy installments. You have a house to show off for all the midnight parties. Who are you trying to impress?
Yes.
You are so insignificant on this planet. You do not know. If you look at yourself, and the proportionately, if you look at it, you know you're virtually non-existent.
Absolutely.
So whom are you trying to impress?
Absolutely. And indeed, you are a delight. And I would say that again, a rarity among men. I'm going to ask you something very interesting. I noticed a very crisp thread of humor in your narrative. So you have this very tongue-in-cheek kind of humor that laces your story all the way through. Of course, I must say that before I move on to the rapid fire, I must say that having been a person who's very unfamiliar with television, after reading your book, it's almost as if I have witnessed frame by frame the evolution of television from the 80s to today. So, which is indeed a human service you have done. And congratulations on your book,
Thank you. Thank
Anand.
you so much. Thank you so
So,
much.
coming back to your sense of humor, can you narrate to us something really funny that happened to you on the set, or something that you'll never forget in your life, something really funny?
I mean, life is, rarely funny. It always tries to test you, and, it tests your patience, it tests your tolerance, it tests so many things, it tests your ethics. But, I feel that if you do not have a sense of humor, it's better to laugh it off rather than to, sort of keep crying over things that do not happen the way you expected them to turn out. I mean, there have been so many funny incidents. I mean, I don't recollect them, but coming back to the sense of humor that you spoke about, even in the Times of India, I think the reason why they put R.K. Lakshman's cartoon on the front page and, the You Said It cartoon, if you remember, the common
Yeah,
man. The
absolutely.
reason is that because the entire page was full of disaster and depressing stuff that, that was one pill that they gave you to laugh off all the other disasters. So it is very, very important that maybe not at that moment or that point of time when it's happening and it's all not going your way at all, but you should be able to look back at it and you should be able to laugh at yourself. The most important thing about sense of humor is you should be able to laugh at yourself first before you laugh at the other guy. So I maybe it just comes naturally to me because it has been so challenging out there. It has been so what would I say, not very easy and full of potholes and craters that I found it amusing. I know after a point I found it amusing. I said, God, this can't be. No, come on. You can't do this to me, or you can't do this to people like this. I mean, the world can't behave like this. Are you guys for real? Are you taking yourself so seriously? Come on, So that's where I think an inherent sense of humor, cropped up, and then I don't mind being a little sarcastic here and there, and I don't mind being a little biting, and even if it means like treading on the other person's foot, if the other guy has a sense of humor, he will understand that this is just another way of looking at it. It's the other side of the coin.
Absolutely. And I got my first taste of it when I had my first conversation with you. And I said, do you mind if we do a quick rapid fire session after the talk? And you said, so what are you going to use, an AK-47? And I split my sides laughing. I said, that's what should I say, so energizing to be able to converse with somebody who has a crisp, nice sense of humor. So can we move on to the rapid fire, Ananth, with your permission?
Absolutely.
I'll shoot a
Shoot.
couple of
Shoot.
questions to you and you can answer in as briefly as you like.
Absolutely.
Your celebrity crush.
Madhubala.
Wow, mine too. The first thing you notice about a person.
Sincerity, professionalism,
Lovely. The first quality you would look for in a woman.
caring.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Caring.
Caring. Lovely. You are indeed a very sensuous person. What makes you the happiest?
When I go to bed and I know I am jobless, but I know my job.
Wow, that is a gem. Your favorite song, and if you can sing a few lines.
My God, that's a tough one because we've had geniuses who have composed such great music. What do you say? ऐसी भी बातें होती हैं, ऐसी भी बातें होती हैं, कुछ दिल ने कहा, कुछ भी नहीं. कुछ दिल ने सुना कुछ भी नहीं.
Oh my God. You have stolen my heart away, Ananth. And I feel that you have deprived us of a very, very enriching part of your life. You must sing.
I
Okay,
enjoy singing. You know, I do it for fun. I love music. I enjoy singing,
I can
and
see that. I can see that.
and
And what a voice you have. And what a song you chose. I'm going to ask you something quite irreverent. Stranded on a desert island, what is the one thing, if you could only choose one, you would choose to take?
a camel.
Why?
That's the only way to get out of the desert.
Okay. What is your greatest fear, Ananth?
The greatest fear is that the world is losing its values fast.
Indeed. And your foremost driving passion?
Persistence, stubbornness, and the obsession with trying to achieve excellence.
Wow. That is the hallmark of a high achiever. If you were to pick three people to have dinner with tonight, barring me, I'm assuming that I will be one of them. Who are the others?
Living or dead?
Your choice.
Einstein, Shakespeare, and Laurence Olivier.
Indeed. You have indeed revealed one part of your inner persona by just this one sentence. Do you believe in luck? And do you believe it plays an overpowering role in life?
Yes, I think I don't believe in luck, but luck does not believe in me because it just tells me to keep working, and it just keeps following. So luck is way behind me, and I think I have overtaken luck.
That is such a supremely exciting thing to hear. And is there one role that you've yearned to play and you haven't yet?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, I haven't even started. For me, all these 40 years have been, I would consider just as a dress rehearsal. I need to start, and I need to start on a more serious note and a more challenging note. So there are so many parts that I would like to play. So it's difficult to answer this question because I haven't. For me, I consider myself as haven't not even have started really.
Ananth, I have to hand you over for this open question answer session, but I'm going to grab 2 minutes more and I'm going to ask you that I want, please sing 2 lines of one more song for us, because that is going to haunt me for days.
कोई होता जिसको अपना हम अपना कह लेते यारो पास नहीं तो दूर ही होगा लेकिन कोई मेरा अपना.
Thank you so much. I'm absolutely overwhelmed. I have no words to thank you. And I'm going to hand you back to Dipali so that she can conduct the question answer sessions. This has indeed been such a joy talking to you. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's been such a pleasure to be a part of this and to listen to you, Ananth. We have a question here from Peter who says, what do you feel about the platforms like Netflix and Prime Video? They have definitely provided an alternative content, which at times is creative.
Well, I would say this much for all the digital platforms that have cropped up during the past few years. One, thanks to the deteriorating quality of television, the satellite television. And second, what they are doing actually is nothing new. If you realize television has come full cycle, they are doing seasons of 10 episodes, 8 episodes, 13 episodes. This is exactly what we started doing when television started in 83. Doordarshan had these seasons, 13 episodes, 26 episodes, 52 episodes, 104 episodes. So if you look at it, if you read between the lines, it's nothing but having come full cycle.
Right. Is there any other question that we have here?
There's a raised hand from Pratul Tandon. Can you please unmute?
Pratul?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Pratul, we can hear you.
Thank you so much. It was such an enlightening session. Thank you, sir. Sir, I'm an actor and I just wanted to know what does it take to get under trained? You, sir. I want to get training from you.
Training from me. I'm learning myself. How do I train?
Not at all, sir. You're such a learned person, sir. After listening to you,
You need to, I'll tell you what, you need to get on that train, as I did. And it's on that train that you meet people, you realize, you know, attitudes, emotions, faces, and you read them and you store them. And, you know, when life sort of, you know, fleets by on these local trains, and you see life as it is. And I was on that train for quite a few years, at least 10 or 15 years. So that's how you train, and you train on the job. You don't train by going to a school, or you don't train by going to an institution that promises to make you an actor in 6 months or 6 weeks. No, they can't make you an actor. They can't teach you acting. You got to learn through experience. My advice to you is to get on to a good theater platform, to a good group, and start working in theater. That's the best training ground an actor could ever have.
All right. Do we have any other question here now? Okay, so there's a question here from Yanendra Bharadwaj, who says, tell us please, if you want to change, you wanted to bring in Indian film and television industry, who are those 5 people whom you will appoint?
5 people to appoint to bring change. You know what? I would sincerely and seriously want some of the old guard to come back if you want to change television. I was seriously thinking of contacting, you know, the bosses at Doordarshan and trying to tell them that they could, you know, bring back the golden age of Doordarshan and Indian television. But you know, there are so many people that gems that we've already lost, like Kundan Shah and Rishikesh Mukherjee and Bashu Chatterjee. But we still have Sai Paranjpe, we still have Ramesh Sippy, we still have MS Satyu. If you could just get them back and revive television the way it was and put television back on the rails, then we might have an outside chance of, you know, restoring Indian television.
That's fabulous. I mean, there's still hope, and also, you know, I mean, we can be back on track again to the old cinema that we were so used to watching. There are no more questions here. So I am going to, on behalf of the Prabha Khaitan Foundation, I would like to thank Ananth Narayan Mahadevan and Nilima Dalmia for such an interesting conversation. I would also like to thank associates Sri Cement Limited and media partner Dainik Jagran. We plan to send out a copy of the book signed by the author. So if any one of you in the audience who's not given your postal address, you can send it either to Nilima Dalmia or to me. Last but not the least, I would also like to thank our wonderful audience whose never-ending support has made sessions such as these possible. Till we meet again, goodbye and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.